Good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you're at. Today I might be changing plans a little bit. I'm going to go over the quarter panel, start putting in this trunk drop down pan. I just punched the holes in it so I can rosette weld in the certain areas, and then on this one, on the wheel well, outer wheel well, I put the holes on here, so I'll go from in there because it just looked like it was going to be too much of an angle and to get up from in here. Well, I'll tie that together. I went ahead, I didn't get this on camera, but I went ahead and put a new brace there. I cut that old one out, kind of spot welded that one, and then I put seam seal all down in there around all the edges so water won't be getting in there, at least from the inside. Keeps it from going in the inside. And then before I weld this quarter panel on, because it's going to take a little bit, because the way, I don't know if you can see this, but there's two. This is an inner, so this is a factory quarter panel. So a factory quarter panel has two layers. It's the inner layer and the outer layer. The inner layer down here, it's got two as well. So this is the inner, this is considered the inner layer right here. So what I need to do, to do it right, you would rip all this off and then you tuck the quarter panel under this one, and then, but I don't know how I would get in there to tack that down. So what I did was I left that alone, actually reinforced the inner wheel fender well piece, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that quarter panel down, and then I'm just going to bring it right in, and I'll grind that down, and I'll try to match it in and see if I can give it some sort of a body line there, and then I'll tack it in around the corners. This is still to be determined, so I'm not really sure, because on a stock quarter panel, like I said, if it's a GM quarter panel, it wraps around and it goes all the way to this seam. Well, this quarter panel that I bought doesn't go all the way around. It really just laps over here. So if I want to keep this distance the same, I got to melt it in here. If I don't care about this distance, or I want to peel this all off to wrap it around, I can do it that way as well. But all those spot welds, and again, I just hate messing with these spot welds if I don't have to. I think I might just come up to it and see if I can blend it into this corner, and then just round it off and then make the day of it there. And then when I get up to this piece of it, this is the marking of the quarter panel that I have now. It comes all the way up to this top line, all the way down. So when I lay it on, as soon as I get it all cinched up and tightened up to where it needs to be tightened up, I'll probably go in and like a 45-degree angle or something, cut in it, and then this piece will fall in, and I can grab it out the trunk. I can pull that piece out the trunk once it falls in, and then that would allow me to push it down, and I'll do it little by little, and then I'll butt weld it in as I go along, so that in hopes that everything is flush. The new quarter panel will be flush with this top piece, because I don't want to do a lap weld. I want to do a butt weld. So I'm going to have to cut it all out so it doesn't sit up, and that means I'm going to have to cut up a little bit here too, and then cut it over. But that's what I'm thinking right now. Like I said, I'm waiting on this to dry, and once this dries, I'll set it in there and just see how it mock it up. I've already mocked it up once, but I'll mock it up again and just make sure that everything is fitting well and clamp it down. And if I feel happy with it, I'll start rosette welding it. But that's it for right now. I'll get back with you when I get a little bit more progress. Hey guys, everything buttoned up underneath for the exception of the back panel. Got the, and this black went over top of the galvanized weld through primer. Then I put epoxy black paint over top of it for the inside. I've got it seam sealed down there, so all the cracks and crevices are seam sealed. I got a little run, but you ain't gonna see that. That's inside. I've got it tack welded, or rosette welded rather, in the inside here, and then along the back. I left that back open, and I left that one open, meaning I didn't weld either side, because when I put this on, I want to have some flexibility in case I have to rock it a little bit to get it to form to the quarter panel. But everything else, I already put this on, then I put the quarter panel on top prior to painting it, and it fits really nicely. So really what's left is let this dry. I'll come back out and then put the quarter panel on. Or actually what I got to do is I got to take that quarter panel probably tomorrow and flip it over and then coat the inside of it with probably epoxy paint, epoxy primer. Coat the whole inside of it, and then I'll lay it on, and then I'm going to go along, and like I said, this I got about 1 inch or so along that line, and once I got it all clamped up and got it all lined up to where I want it, I'm going to zip it right across. And I've got some real thin, this is 3/32, I believe. No, 1/32. 1/32. Got some real thin grinding wheels. And then if I need to use my big one, this is 3/64, so a little thicker. But I'll use the 1/32, and that way it will be a nice tight, and I'll kind of come in, like I said, at a 45-degree angle. And as I come through, I'll push it in, tack weld, push it in, tack weld, push it in, tack weld, as I'm cutting it along. Initially, when I mock it up, or once I place this on, I've got some sheet metal screws. Yeah, right here. 8x1/2 inch, tiny little guys. I'll use that as well to help hold it in position. And once I'm happy with it, how it is all lined up, like I said, then I'll go through and cut it. And as I cut it, I'll push it in, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, tack weld, until I go around. Then this front part is going to be a little trickier for me, because I'm going to do the weld on the corner, I believe. I don't know if I want to wrap it around or not, because if I wrap it around, then I got to peel all that back off. I could do it either way, but I was thinking just to bring it up to the corner and then just tack, 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 and then I can grind it down and then make it all flush on this. We'll see. It's still up in the air. And then around the back, of course, I'll clean this up prior to putting it on. That way I got something to weld to. That's an old weld that's not been ground off all the way, but I'll put that down, I'll grind that down, clean this all up, and then when it comes around, it will wrap around, and then I can stitch it in here as well. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. I don't know why it bothers me that I've got to run here. You're not going to see it, but I got to run. And the freaking can, I'm going to blame the can on this. It's real hard to push. It's a brand new can, but it's hard to push, and it's at first I thought there was no propellant in it. It's full, but no propellant. But then I pushed it and it came out, so I was really struggling to keep it down and spray in a pattern, and I think I boogered it up when I came here. I got a little too close and it stuck, and whatever. I'll learn my lesson. But like I said, once the quarter panel's on, you're not even see. If anything, that's a little extra protecting, so I shouldn't rust right here. But yep, that's all we got for right now, and I'll bring something back to you as soon as I go to put that in. Bye. You live on YouTube.
Oh, what up, man? My bad, man. I ain't
No, 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 no. I ain't live. All right, fellas, another day, another dollar. Well, another dollar spent. So I got everything ready to put the quarter panel on, and I've been messing with the quarter panel for the last, I don't know, maybe hour. I probably had this thing off a half a dozen or more times. In theory, you would think it would fit, but common sense will say it won't fit. I guess when I came out here, I thought, oh, you know what, it'd be a few minutes, I could do this, that, and have it on. That's not the case. I've got everything kind of where I want it. Got this. I've been shaving metal off, trimming it up here, trimming it up there, bending it a little in the back. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my guide, because this body line right here is what I need it to follow. I need to follow this body line. So I've got marks. I've got marked where the metal goes. I got marked to the bottom of this metal. So I'm going to end up having to cut it in somewhere in between here when I cut it across. And then going down there. So if I follow this body line, and I had it on a couple of times, and it fits good in the back. It's going to be a little bit of tiny bending on the bottom and around, but no big deal. Everything else is fitting pretty good. Fits along the top. My real concern right now is lining up the front down to the bottom and across. And then everything else in theory should follow, as long as I can get that to kind of flow. So it's kind of bouncing back and forth. You get it here, okay, is this what I want? Then I follow it across, I follow all that. Look back there, ah man, I got a little space back here, so I can maybe go back here, and then bouncing back and forth. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm using as my guideline. I'm using this curvature so that when the door shuts, and I got right here, this is the mark of the body line. So when you got the quarter panel on, you're going to have a body line. I've got that marked right there, so when I line everything up, it's marking. Because right now, the door, I should have done this first, but I didn't want to mess with the door right now because I got to deal with that later. But the door has to be level in order to line up. I see where it's at. I see the door's hanging just a little. That's fine. Once that body line lines up, the mark is hanging here on the door. Once I line the door to get it in within spec, it will all line up. At least that's what my hope is. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going back and working on the bottom piece of this right here. Like I said before, the way it worked is inner, outer, and what I've got right now is the outer, and it's supposed to go under, but I've grooved it out so I can slide it under a little bit. I would take it all the way out, but the problem is if I take it out completely, I have no way of getting in there to tack weld or do anything else. That little hole, that hole, I can't get a gun down there to zap it. Yeah, and the quarter panel's all closed up. I mean, the rocker panel's all closed off. So I'm going to slide it in there and then work with it. But it's a little trying, so if you don't have patience or lack patience, it's definitely a test. So I'm being tested right now. All right, guys. My boy brought me a pizza on his way home from school. So I gotta stop and eat this. You can't pass up a pizza. Good. Probably not good for you, but good. So after I'm done this, I've already trimmed off the bottom so I eat with talking with mouthful, but seems like this is my downtime right now, so I can video it. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna put the quarter panel back up, and then that bottom part that I was messing with down by the rocker panel, I'm gonna see how that fits in there. I already put a groove in there, so hopefully it pops in. If it doesn't, I'll finesse it some more. And once I'm all happy with how it is lined up, and yesterday I already sprayed the inside of the quarter panel with epoxy paint. but once I'm happy with it, I'll probably put it up there, and then probably use some metal screws to hold it in place with the clamps. And from there, cutting and pushing in and welding. So I'm a little hesitant on cutting and welding yet, because I want to, what's the saying? Measure twice, cut once. I'm measuring like a dozen or so times, because I only want to cut once and I don't want to mess up, but I'll probably still mess up after doing all this anyway, but it's part of the game. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and as soon as I'm done with this, I'll get back to that and we'll see how it's starting to show up.
I've never been a violent man. I'd rather be drinking beer.
Alright, I think I'm about there. The only issue that I have, and it's not really even an issue, is I've got everything lined up the way I want it lined up, with the body crease going where the old body crease was at. Is in here. I don't know if you can see. There's some light in here. Maybe not. There's a little bit of a gap between the outer rear well and the quarter panel, but you could pull that down. I'm already pulling it down right now, but I'm not going to worry about that until after I get the quarter panel on square, because everything else is lining up. It lines up in the back, comes down nice and neat to for the trunk drop-off pan. Comes around here. This will have to be tapped in a little bit when you're trying to seal it around the corner. It's hard to see because of the dark light, but once it gets pulled down in there and this gets cut off, he'll come even closer, and then I'll just kind of bang, 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 kind of massage it in there. Everything else is lined up pretty good. Again, this is where it comes down to the dare of, hey, do I cut it? Kind of hesitant right now because I want to just double check, and after the last time I said I checked it probably a dozen or two times, I probably checked it another dozen since then, because I put it on, check it, put it on, check it. And there's one little area you want to trim, one little area you want to massage, but the whole key is if I can get it on right the first time, then I don't have to worry about it. But if I put it on wrong, I might have more of a mess. So right now I'm about 99% sure this is where it's going to be. I'm just going to look over a few more things. Like I said, the outer rear well, the gap is probably about, in some spots it's close, in some spots it's bigger, but when I grab my hand, I pull it down, you can match it up to the quarter panel. Everything else is lining up, and this is what I was saying about down here. I've curled it under. Let's see. I've curled it under, and so what I might do is either TIG it in there and you'll still have a nice seam, or maybe MIG it and grind it out and still have a seam. And then, like I was saying, right here, I'm going to cut right along that seam. I'm going to cut that off and then weld the quarter panel to the previous quarter panel where it comes up. Well, the quarter panel is missing, but where the quarter panel metal comes up, I'll probably just tack it all the way along there, and then recess it in here, cut it, push, cut it, push. That way I can get it flush up here. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Let me stew over it a little bit and I'll be back. right.
Without a financial burden, call
Let me turn off this.
California's top workers' comp injury law firm. Get a free case review and get paid now.
There we go. All right, got it tack welded on the top. And now I'm going to draw a line. So this metal goes down to right about here. I'm going to draw a line somewhere around here all the way down. So if this metal goes down to here, I'm going to draw a line right here all the way down here, and then come back, and I'm going to cut in there at a 45-degree angle and push in. And as I push in, I'll do sections at a time. As I push in, I'll tack it, tack it, tack it. So the idea is, and I've got to cut this first too. I'm going to cut this right on the corner so it can actually fold in a little bit better. But the idea is that it will be flush. This will be flush. And then the only thing that will be sticking up is a little bit of weld, and I can knock that down. So that's where I'm at right now. I got to draw out the line. All right, be right back. Alright, I'm almost halfway done with tacking the top of the quarter panel. I'm doing it really slow so that not to overheat it. This is what I've done so far. You can see that I've just gone every so often, put a little tack weld, this one I kind of boogered up because I was grinding this off and I hit it, so I got to be mindful of turning that blade sideways. Plus I was in the welding helmet, and the welding helmet you can see until it flashes a certain way, and then it blacked out, so I had to change over to safety glasses. But if you look down the panel, you can see so far it's doing very, very well. It's flush. There's no noticeable ripples that I can feel so far. So I'm going to continue on going down the back side of that, and then I will come over here, and I've already cut part of this. Just this is tacked here, so I can't peel it out, but I'm going to cut that tack off and peel it back. But then I'll come down here and then melt this into the corner that existing corner that I've already have here. So my hope is it will look similar to this, maybe even better than this, because I'll have more metal to grind onto. But yeah, that's where I'm at so far. Almost halfway, well, just over halfway, around halfway through the quarter panel. Just wanted to give you a little update. I don't know what it was, if maybe I bumped it, but my welder voltage jumped up a few notches, and then got a little hot, and I turned around, looked at it, and it had jumped up, like went from 15.8 volts to 16.1. So I dialed it back down. I may have just hit it when I put my helmet on there and didn't even realize it. But yep, that's where I'm at right now. I'll bring you back when I am a little further. All right, I'm done for tonight. So just to catch you up where we're at, I finished the whole top of tacking. I haven't finished tacking. I just finished tacking all the way across, space in every inch or two, coming back here. And right now, when I come back out here tomorrow, I'll finish coming down here, and then, like I was saying, seam that into that, and then I'll go along and I'll tag this. One thing, what was I looking for? Oh, never mind. But if you just take a look at down here, you can see how straight that is. It's freaking flush. I don't know if you can catch it on the camera like I can catch it in person, but it's flush. I don't see any real warpage. I mean, nothing to really be concerned about. Once I'm continue all the way through with it, I might get the heat setting up just a little bit more so it can kind of burn all the way through. I felt through here, and some of them are coming through and some of them aren't all the way through. So I might put the heat setting up just a little bit more, because I don't want to sit there and hold the weld on it for too long and warp it. So this and I got this to fix. My dumb butt started cutting here, but on the back side I had previously cut here, and the metal came up to here, so I was unaware of where I was, and then but I came into this, so I was fine. But that, not a big deal right there. I can patch that up. But other than that, it's looking good. With the door shut, and I think I told you, the body line is a little low on the door, but the door is not hung straight. So you can see that on the rocker panel, it needs to come up on the back. Once it comes up, it'll be perfect. It'll hang in there just perfect. So far, I am happy with where we're at. I'm gonna go in. It's I think it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna go in, clean up, and watch a little TV, and then I'll be out here probably tomorrow. But thanks for staying tuned. See you tomorrow. Good morning, good afternoon. I think it's good afternoon here. I got out here about an hour or so ago, trying to button up this quarter panel. I'm doing it little by little. I just don't want to warp anything, so I'm not in a rush. But the front end so far has turned out fairly nice. I haven't ground it yet, but I cut it like I was saying. I probably said a couple things. I was talking about going around the corner, and then I was talking about slicing in. What I did is I sliced it in. I didn't go around the corner, so I kept the original body line next to the door, and I just cut it off, and then I cut off the lip of the new quarter panel and sealed it on the corner. But here you go. I had a little mistake up here, and that was just because my grinder came out a little too wide, so that's why there's a little boogered up weld here. I'm trying to fill in the gap. Everything else though turned out really nice. It's tack, 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 tack. So I haven't done anything down to the bottom. I haven't done the wheel well yet, but I've preliminary tacked the top as I was showing you last night, and then this one looks like it's ready to be ground. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grind this one down and see what I've got. I don't feel anything, no warpage or anything, so that's kind of good. This part right here, there's a little bubble, but then I feel up here is a body line, so it might just be rolling into the body line, and that's what I'm feeling as it swoops in and out. But everything else, yeah, it feels good. So I'm gonna get to grinding a little bit, and then probably end up having to go back over it a little again with a welder and tack whatever I ground through or missed in the first place. But I just want to get you up to date, show you where I'm at right now with this front. And like I said, top and everything turned out well. It's all nice and flush. All right, I'll get back with you. All right, so I got them most of it ground. All this stuff is ground down. I think as far as I'm going to have it ground down. And then I'll go over it with epoxy and fiberglass filler, but you can see it's pretty straight. And this is the seam. I went over it a couple times just to make sure that I wasn't. I got a little hot right there, so I was careful, and then hot right there. But other than that, it's. I'm trying to get a shot down the quarter panel. But it turned out pretty well. This is the front piece right here, coming down. I could probably grind it a little bit more down here, not much, but it's looking like it's ready to finish this piece up. I ordered the toe pans, so hopefully when they come in, that will be my next thing to do, is the floorboards. I'll start with the driver's side floorboard and cut it out, and then I'll insert these floorboards. But right now, I'm going to spray some epoxy paint on it, seal it up, and then I'm going to hold off to do the body work with the feathering of the body filler and stuff like that until after I'm through with most of the car, because I don't want to sit here and work with this and go with that. So weld, patch, keep it from rusting or flash rusting, cover it with epoxy paint, move on to the floorboard, and then I haven't been able to find a patch panel for that front left fender, so it looks like I'm going to end up trying to make one myself, which is no problem. I'll do it, but I just thought I'd have it easier way out if I could find the patch panel for the front left fender. But yeah, so I'm probably going to wrap this video up just so I can send it out and then move forward with my next video. Like I said, all I've got to do is put some paint on it and it should be good to go. So those of you that have stuck around and held out for the menagerie, I appreciate it. Next one should be the floorboard, cutting it out. All right, guys, take care.